Hey seniors, Ms. Manning here. Before we get started, take a second to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook so that you can make sure you're getting the latest updates from me. I'm posting a lot of stuff, especially right now. Now, you guys have made it to October. Congrats. I know you just talked with your counselors about return on investment, and now we're going to talk about financial aid because now that it's October, it's time for the FAFSA and alternative application to get submitted. They just opened up last week. So let's catch up here. What is financial aid in the first place? So financial aid is basically money for college or career school. That's a very simple way to think about it. But it can come from a variety of different places. So it can come from the federal government, it can come from the state of Illinois, it can come from the college that you go to, or it can come from some type of nonprofit or maybe a private organization or company as well. And when we talk about financial aid, the first thing to really think about is cost of attendance, because that is what financial aid helps to cover in the first place. So cost of attendance, as you're researching schools and options, should include a variety of different things, 5 things actually. The first being tuition and fees. So how much does that education actually cost? The second being your books and supplies, so the materials that you need in order to receive your education. The third, room and board, where you sleep, how much you eat. The fourth, your transportation. And then the fifth, miscellaneous personal expenses. Every now and then, you got to treat yourself to some Dunkin' or some Starbucks every once in a while. But you're probably wondering, what is this actually going to cost me? Because this is very general information. And the way to really figure that out is to take the cost of attendance of a school and then subtract what's called your expected family contribution. When you do that is when you can really figure out what your financial need looks like. So backing up a second here, that expected family contribution. Expected family contribution comes when you fill out either the FAFSA or the alternative application. And it's just as the name would suggest. It's what the federal government expects or estimates that your family would be able to contribute and pay towards the education that you are going to receive. So that number is calculated by filling out those forms, just one of the many reasons why it's a good idea to fill out those forms. So with your financial need in mind, again, cost of attendance minus expected family contribution is your financial need. Let's look at types of aid. That's when those become really important for you to consider because you want to figure out, how can I cover that financial need? So the first way you can cover it is through grants, right? Those usually come from the government. They're usually need-based. And so long as you hold up your end of the bargain, because there are certain stipulations, it's free money. I always think of grants in this way. If you remember Aladdin, the genie who's granting you 3 wishes, it's a gift, right? It's gift aid. It's totally for free. You don't have to pay it back. The next one, and another type of gift aid, is scholarships, most of which you're already familiar with, but these can really be given for any reason. There are need-based scholarships, there are merit-based scholarships, so usually how well you did academically in school. There are scholarships for a religious affiliation, for community service, for being tall, for being a first-gen student. So many different ones out there. The next one here is work study. So work study is a job that you apply for on campus, and that is used to cover your financial need. And then finally, loans, which carry interest, and there are a variety of types of these. And the grants, the work study, and then the loans also come when you fill out the FAFSA. So covering financial need is one thing, right? All these different ways, but let's kind of bring it back to your return on investment, what you were just talking about with your counselor, because that is equally, if not, in some ways more important, big picture. The next question you'll be asking is, really, what is going to be my return? I'm investing all this money in my education. So how can I get the most bang for my buck? And where can I get the most bang for my buck? when we start thinking longer term, right? Because you've already talked with your counselor about return on investment and what that might look like in a general sense. But longer term, later this year, each school you apply to will be sending you a financial aid offer, and that will display a different financial aid package. So at that point, you're really going to be able to compare schools to one another. You might get an idea about cost of attendance right now. You might find out about scholarships from colleges later this semester, but it won't really get broken down usually until second semester. And that is where you can really pull it apart and look for that greatest return on investment. It's going to be a big priority conversation with you, your family, because it's more than just the cost. It's also what you value about the school and what your family values about each school, but just a peek about what's to come down the road. So we've talked about financial need, how to cover it, return on investment, how that all ties in. But I also like to think of return on investment and financial aid in the context of, well, how can I boost my financial aid so that my return on investment looks even greater at the end of the day? So one way that you can do this, like I mentioned before, is through scholarships, right? Scholarships can be need-based, so again, based on your family's financial need. They can be merit-based, based on your academic performance, or they can be due to a variety of other factors. But the good news is that there are a variety of places for you to look, as you can see by all these logos here, and there are even more that you can get access to on the CCRC website, in the class of 2021 Google Classroom, or the CCRC Google Classroom. I want to take a really quick detour though and tell you guys about the Maine West Scholarship Database, because this includes a list of scholarships that we get information about, or that we know are really, really good scholarships for our students to apply to. So to find the scholarship database, you can always go to the Maine West website, go down to Student and Family Services on the left-hand side, then select the Career and College Resource Center, and then from there, go into scholarships. And you can see the page here. That big blue button underneath the red text is going to be what you click on to get into that database. Now, you can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter again, and you can see that I post a scholarship of the day, especially when we have a lot in our database, so that you get a sense of what's out there and what you might be eligible for. Now, scholarships is one thing, but right now in October, you're also going to want to complete a financial aid application. So either the FAFSA or the alternative app. And these are basically long forms that uses tax information from 2019 to help you figure out what that expected family contribution that I mentioned before is. Now, it is a grad requirement for you guys this year, so you need to fill out one of these, not both, or complete a waiver. And I really recommend that you submit it by Halloween, because sometimes that money runs out early, and sometimes colleges like you to have these filled out early so you can get more scholarships from them. So most students are going to complete the FAFSA. The alternative app is a great option as well for certain undocumented students and also for transgender students. The reason being, it's for undocumented students who have lived in Illinois for at least 3 years and also live with a parent. And then for transgender students who were assigned a male gender identity at birth and cannot fulfill the selective service requirement that's going to come with the FAFSA. Your counselor is going to go over this in more detail, but just a heads up, we've got 2 great options for everyone to be looking at right now. Now, one thing really quickly, if you're planning on filling out that FAFSA, that you need to know right now is that you're going to need an FSA ID. This is basically your username and password to get into and then to sign the FAFSA. So you are going to need one. That's the little graduation cap here. That's you. And then one of your parents is going to need one too. So once you both have those, they can get matched when you sign that FAFSA. All right. So last but not least, what's really important for you guys to remember is that you are not alone in this process whatsoever. Your counselors are here, I'm here, and I've got another resource I'm going to introduce you to in a second. Please always feel free to reach out with questions, email, make an appointment, whatever works. But a couple events coming up for you I don't want you to miss out on. Tuesday and Wednesday, so depending on when you're seeing this, either today or today and tomorrow, we'll be having college application workshops with a drop-in link. So you can just pop into the Google Meet, ask whatever questions you have, ask for help. We'll help you out, and you'll also get entered into a raffle. So check your email and check the classroom for class of 2021 and the CCRC to get access to that link. And then we're also having many different types of sessions to help support you with your financial aid applications. So we have the help sessions, which is where you can just drop in if you have a general question, ask your question, and someone will be able to help you. We'll also have breakout rooms for more private questions. And you can see that those are happening many days in October and then also one Saturday in November. I recommend that you complete your FSA ID before this workshop because that will help you get the most out of the workshop. We're also hosting a webinar for the FAFSA specifically on October 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. You do have to register for that one. And it's going to really just talk about tips and tricks for filling it out, areas where we commonly see mistakes. And then that extra resource I was telling you guys about, we're offering virtual appointments and office hours with our Illinois Student Assistance Commission representative, Monica Massini, who you're going to meet in a second here. Thank you guys, and I'll toss it over to Monica now.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica Massini, and I work for the Illinois Student Assistance Commission, or ISAC. ISAC is the College Access and Financial Aid Agency for the state of Illinois. I am an ISAC Core representative, which means I work with Maine West High School to help students navigate the college-going process, and specifically financial aid that's available to them to help pay for post-secondary education. I do this in the form of weekly office hours, which are now virtual, and they're every Thursday from 3 until 4 p.m. You can reach out to Ms. Manning for a link, or check out the CCRC newsletter or the calendar to get the link for it as well. On the screen here, you will see important dates and times to remember in order to attend financial aid application completion workshops and also financial aid nights where you can get all of your questions answered related to financial aid. I would encourage you to attend these office hours and also the financial aid application completion workshops and the financial aid nights so you can get all of your questions answered. I am also available for individual appointments. You will find my Calendly link to schedule these appointments on the CCRC website. You can also email me at monica.massini@illinois.gov, or you can text or call me at 847-636-1259. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to help you with all of your financial aid questions.